So go
That's
for
right.
it, Surbhi. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, sounds good. Awesome. Thanks, Alan, for having me here. I'm Surbhi. I'm the CEO, co-founder of symbl.ai. Software engineer by background, started the company in 2018, and over the last 5 years, 5.5 years, we've been driving a lot of understanding of multimodal interaction data at scale, specifically focused on how builders, developers, can capitalize on the calls, videos, messages, emails that's happening across the organization and really tap into that information for growing the business, both top line and also optimizing for efficiency
Yeah,
uh, generally. And yeah, it's exciting today to talk about one of our products, which is Call Score, Custom Call Score, but really in context of the new way in which we are going to build hybrid workforces, which is, you'll have AI agents for some, you'll have humans for some, and but how do you make sure that we're constantly keeping a track of monitoring, assessing the quality, as well as evolving them based on the changing and the dynamic nature of how interactions happen today in the ecosystem.
yeah,
So yeah, I have a couple of slides and I can pull that up to just show some of the, pieces, architecture, all of
yeah.
that stuff. And
Perfect.
then, you can ask me questions
Oh,
as
don't worry. You know I will.
okay, I'm just gonna share my screen here. Um,
Yeah. There's a share button. It's at the bottom. There you
yeah,
go. You
there it
found it.
is. There it is. Awesome. All right. So, yeah, so I think a lot of I've presented before at TADHack, so I know like there's probably the audience has some familiarity with what Symbol has been doing. So I
Exactly.
don't want to go deeper into it, but of course, with over the last 5 years, we have also evolved as
Exactly.
an organization and as a platform. When we started the business, we focused a lot on providing the lower level foundational models and expose that by APIs so
Yeah.
that with the connectors and APIs to integrate on telephony systems, PSTN systems, streaming systems to take in WebSocket based, audio. And then also asynchronously, of course, with
Yeah.
recordings and transcripts. But of course, over the period of time, as we work with customers, we realize that the value still comes with when you combine a lot of
Yes.
orchestrate these models to
Yeah.
really deliver a business value.
Yes.
But how do we stay true and core to our persona of the problem that we solve for, which is the developers that are
Yeah.
now building these products, but also give them a little bit more abstraction of the complexities underneath. So
Understood.
we've over the last, I think, 1.5 year, we've built this new product line called as Applied Experiences. And these are kind of like pre-built experiences exposed and integrated as an API in your products, experiences, or workflows, but they really map to a functional value as opposed to like just the model itself.
Yeah.
So we have a
Understood.
bunch of those. We have a real-time assist API that we actually released a couple of weeks back. We have call score that we are going to talk about a little bit more detail today. Call wrap, which is providing a more customizable way to wrap the call or generate the summary of the call. Like
Okay.
summary of the call is not just like summarizing, but when you want to look at a call outside of just listening to the recording or reading the transcript, you want to look at multiple facets of the
Yeah.
call and interaction, like the sentiment, the questions that weren't answered, the objections that didn't get through. So like it really
Gotcha.
gives you like a 360-degree view of the call without having to listen to it or read the transcript.
Gotcha.
And then analytics, which is, core to what we want companies to do with conversation data, is really like take the metadata out of these, interactions, fuse that with the other data points in the business, and really get a holistic view of how do interactions map to business outcomes. So
Gotcha.
that's the entire thing. But yeah, all of this is now backed and supported with a context engine, which is kind of like a real-time RAG implementation that we have done so that companies can inject more structured or unstructured data
Yeah.
that correlates and adds more context to the analysis of
Understood.
these applied experiences. But yeah, we're very excited to continue to work with businesses that are building on top of voice, video, whether it's in the contact center and BPOs, all of that stack and really build experiences on top of that faster. The
Gotcha.
ability to control the experience and customize it and the time to market are the two variables that we obsess about. So the APIs are designed in the way that you still have enough control and you can customize this, but you also don't have to spend like 2-3 months of development effort in order to bring something to market. So that's
Exactly. Yeah.
really the
That's clear.
objective that we are doing here. So yeah, this is one of our API products that we launched a couple of months back, which is really how do we enable businesses to build their own call scoring.
Yeah.
And when we launched this, the initial idea was to really enable quality automation within businesses because there are so many frontline interactions now are really spread across humans talking to the end customers, but there are also AI agents
Yeah.
now that are interacting with your customers. And the goal was to provide like a really quality purview to all these interactions in a single place. But as we have worked with different segments, I think people are kind of like creating more flavors to it, like identifying fraud in interactions,
Yeah.
identifying any biases in communication. So there's really a score that you can give to any qualitative
Yeah.
aspect of the interaction. And the goal here is that how do you put a number for any qualitative evaluation and really
So on
make
the
it clear?
fraud piece,
Yeah.
what are the triggers you're using there?
Well, this is purely based on the conversational content.
Yeah.
So, if there are aspects around asking for personal information, which you
Yeah.
should
Oh,
not
yeah,
be
yeah.
asking on the call.
Gotcha.
So you can identify that it is, deviation from standard,
Yeah.
and it is definitely not aligned with how a call should go through, and you can flag that.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, that's a big one. Like in India, you've got, I think it's Truecaller was showing, all the sources of
yeah,
scam calls.
yeah,
And
exactly.
theft of basically identity was like,
Yeah,
I think it was 96.5% of
yeah,
the
yeah.
traffic. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think, I mean, like, this is just another data point in identifying fraud because,
Yeah.
like you can already do like this voice detection, voice ID, caller IDs. Like, there are a bunch of other
Yeah,
aspects
that's
that
true. Yeah,
contribute
yeah,
to fraud
yeah,
detection. But I
yeah,
think, like, I if it gets past that and
yeah,
you're on the call, now how do you identify that miss?
exactly.
So that is like a good way to use the
Yeah.
API. But of course, like there are so many more applications around, like, I want to pass fail agents if they're doing X but not doing
Ah,
Y.
gotcha.
I
Understood.
want to create a more qualitative or a verbose explanation of why did you not show empathy on the call, and can I give you feedback immediately as the call ends that, hey, you were not very empathetic on this call, maybe you want to be careful. So it also
Understood.
influences coaching in
Hmm.
moment. So like
Understood.
really quality, I think, as a piece has so many different applications and like tangential value outcomes that we are trying to do here.
Understood.
So yeah, so we built this product in a way that you can create your own custom criterias. So you can have a question there, or along with some document metadata that provides more context to that question,
Hmm.
and that you can allocate like a priority to it,
Gotcha.
uh, low, high, medium. You can create, the more description you give, the more context the model has to really
Hmm.
understand it. And you can, under each score, you can have a variety of questions to create more breadth
Yeah.
to really creating that score. So that's the custom criteria. And
Yeah.
then we have scorecards that we've created because every business has, different functions and BUs on
Yeah.
which, or maybe different products. And you want to be able to score agents based on these different segments, whether it
Hmm.
is the experience of the agents, whether it is the products that you're selling or a specific region. You might want to create a different scorecard for your agents in India versus in Philippines versus in the US. So
Yeah.
you can mix and match these criterias and really create those scorecards.
Gotcha.
So that kind of really enables you to think about building this experience, but just with these two anchor points that I want to create my criterias in natural language, and then I want to combine a bunch of different criterias to provide a scorecard. And just with these two things, you can accelerate quality management efforts and really automate that across your product experiences, organizations, all of that stuff. Um,
Gotcha.
So yeah, so just a little bit on how this works. So you have, human and AI agent calls, you
Hmm.
extract live stream recordings, transcripts. We have APIs to do that,
Yeah.
sync telephony and streaming. You configure the call score criteria and metadata also through the API. And then this information, along with any additional context, which sits in the vector database,
Oh,
we
okay.
kind of take that and create a generative evaluation in context of the information that you have provided. And
Hmm.
then all this goes back to your call score API response. You can take this information in a pure JSON and put it in your own tooling, or we provide like a UI component, which I just showed at the beginning,
Yeah.
be able to embed in your application. And that has
Gotcha.
more than just the scores, that also shows the sentiment across the call and a summary of the performance in context of the score. So it's not a general summary,
Oh,
it's a
gotcha.
summary of the performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very specific to quality and scoring of the
Understood.
call. So yeah, that's really about it.
Cool. So what are the major what are the main verticals that are using this at the moment? I'm just trying to get a feel for the sort of typical application areas.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a customer that is using this for biomedical devices,
Oh,
and they are a healthcare
yeah.
company, and they are trying to align quality tracking across their sales and support team, both
Gotcha. Yeah.
because sometimes a customer that's calling to support, they can also upsell them. So
Yep.
they want to make sure that, the agents are consistently talking with the right kind of criteria. So they're using this to automate QA completely. They were to do QA in Excel sheets, and they've completely automated that, which
Yeah.
is amazing. So that's one example. The other
Yeah.
example is really we're working with a very large BPO
Yeah.
that serve different telcos, all the way from Freedom Mobile to T-Mobile, like the bunch of telcos and different programs, not just telcos, even just like other customers, digital
Mhm.
natives and stuff,
Yeah.
which are consumer organizations, have large call centers. They are the BPO to support that.
Yeah.
And the challenge there always happens is that you have so many different programs that it's never one size fits all.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to calibrate the program to support like different aspects.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what they have done with us. So the ability for them to customize the scoring logic based on each customer and each
Ah,
program has enabled them
gotcha.
to really scale quality much faster than they would.
Interesting. So
In
because of the diversity of customers they've got, it enables them to automate that testing and identify where
Yeah,
maybe there's a script or there's training required for particular brands
yeah,
because you're able to
that's
see,
right.
okay, in this particular market for, just jumping back to what you're saying in the biomedical devices, clearly we're not doing any upsell
Yeah,
because they didn't receive the training, or
yep,
basically it's not one of the prompts that the AI agent has been fed.
yeah.
So then, what are some of the interesting differences that you see with this automation between real agents and artificial agents?
Yeah, it's interesting because for real human agents, you want to be able to communicate them the improvements area as part of their coaching program
Yeah,
and really focus on performance of the individual and how to elevate the performance so that you can do more with one person. You can
yeah,
increase and improve the efficiency. You can influence your CSAT programs, like all of that
gotcha.
stuff, where humans are involved.
Yeah,
But with AI agents, you really give that feedback as a prompt.
yeah, oh yeah,
Because so it's interesting, the way that you are consuming the information, and like also the subjectiveness of how you take that feedback
yeah,
is also exist on both sides, because humans are subjective in their own way to
yeah.
take and improve the feedback, but also if you configure the prompt to an AI agent, that's also subjective because the
Oh yeah,
LLM,
yeah. I mean,
right?
prompt
They
engineering
don't
is a
care.
skill, you know?
Yeah. So that's what we are trying to do, is like, influence and tell you first the gap analysis
Yeah,
on both sides. And then, you can take that and bring that gap to coaching programs or prompts based on, what that application area is.
understood.
Yeah.
And I guess an obvious question is which is more coachable, the AI agent or the human?
Well, we'll know.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, no, I think we're still in the phase in which we want to get some trust building with humans with AI agents,
Yeah,
and then also make sure that humans don't feel threatened with
yeah.
AI agent. And it's like I think there is a path that we are on to make sure that we can
Oh,
have both AI and human work together in
yeah,
harmony.
yeah.
Um, and then I think we can think about problems around, oh, you are less coachable than the AI, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, no, that's a
Like
good point. Yeah,
I
because
think,
Strollid, one of the sponsors for TAD Summit, they sort of use AI as an enhancement layer
yeah,
for their agents. Because
yeah,
for them, people talking to people is critical. It's a high value, so they deal in car sales. So their margins are such that people talking to people, is important. But then for them, the AI is it's a way of enabling that agent at that moment to have insight across that potential customer's experience.
yeah,
So the times they've called the dealership before, maybe what cars they've bought before. So it enables then the agent to have, you know, to be able to use that, and also, with the suggested questions, so that they can build a stronger relationship and make suitable recommendations or ask suitable questions to move that particular customer from I'm interested in a Ford F-150 to, you know, moving it from interest to maybe not as strong as buying, but they're to the point whereby they're considering it as an
yeah,
option. Again,
yeah,
using because the agent, so the AI can look across the whole customer,
exactly.
sort of interactions
Yeah,
over potentially years, and then be able to reduce that to what are some of the suggested questions to answer that customer. So cool. That
yeah,
really helps me understand what the platform's doing. It's interesting. I think definitely relevant because I don't see too much of a battle between the AI agents and human agents because they tackle different problem sets.
yeah, that's right.
I,
Yeah,
I think that where we're at is an experimental phase where, you know, back to Strolid, they're enhancing their existing agents
yeah,
and they're able to and they do very simple, not even doing quality metrics. It's basically simple down into sales, those
yeah,
agents and the resulting sales. But I think when you're dealing with more on a customer support side, I can see that as a very interesting area where you want to, quality metrics are important because that's going to impact retention. And
absolutely.
retention is
Yeah,
hard to measure, in the
yeah,
near term. It's a far longer term aspect. But cool.
yeah.
This has been great. Again, I just love the development. When people ask me about Symbol, I say, well, they've been doing voice AI since the beginning, before it was fashionable. You know?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ellen,
No,
for this.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff that we got out recently, including a real-time assist API, where once you identify these gaps, you can now bring assistance in real time to
Oh,
agents, which will be
okay.
interesting to cover some other time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That will be really
Yeah.
good. So again, thank you so much, Zoe.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
Thank
all the
you.
work you're doing. And of course, you've got new people on the team because
Yeah, we
I
have
saw,
we have a new CTO, which we are very
yeah,
excited about. Yeah.
excellent. No, that's great. So again, thank you so much. And I'll hopefully see you next year.
All right. Thanks a
Take
lot.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.